All right, this is Bala, and this is my take on the Thunen model in Minecraft. The first thing we gotta know before we start is that Thunen was a 19th century economist from Germany. Thunen had created a model to describe the spatial structure of agriculture, and his model explains the relationship between the cost of land versus the cost to transport. And one thing you got to remember is that Juan Thunen is pretty old. He's like from the 1800s, and a lot of the aspects of his model really do not completely apply today. Though he was like uh, his ideas of the time were pretty revolutionary, and he used it to in this cost of land versus cost of transport is a pretty key concept when we're looking at his model. So before we start, first it's just like a quick diagram. So what this button represents is like a town and town in a market basically, which is surrounded by market gardening and basically poultry, dairy, and all your other stuff. And the next string around it is going to be forestry, and this is done so because you got to remember that while trees were large, they did take a lot of cost to transport. Would cost too much to bring them into the town. Would take too much energy and money. So that's why they were right around this. And the market gardening, by the way, and the poultry, that is done because these items perish quickly and they're probably sold the same day they're harvested or taken. So that's why they're right there. Next, we have the grains and the field crops because they were relatively easier to transport to the town and they did take a lot of space, so this kind of makes sense for them. And finally, we have the cattle ranching and other forms of livestock raising, like probably even pastoral nomadism and stuff like that. And that is because these are require tons and tons of land, but they so that's why it's not really feasible to do them in there, but you can always walk your animals up to town to slaughter them for meat or whatever. You can get wool. So the transportation wasn't an issue with animals. So I guess let's take a look at the one Thunen model that I made. And all right, so first thing we gotta go is we're inside the first string, and that is gonna be basically the town and the market. And you kind of see all these houses, they represent a town, and you got these villagers here in these markets trading with each other. They're selling all kinds of market vegetables. You got melons, fruits, and other vegetables, potatoes. You also got the villager here selling dairy products like eggs and like cake made from dairy products. He's got a bunch of milk and even more eggs inside right there, so he's selling that stuff. Um, we come here, we see a bunch of pigs that are housed for slaughter, and we also see more pigs at the butcher shop, which is inside the town, and they're gonna be slaughtered right here. So that is the first ring. So the town, the market, and where animals are brought in for slaughter, where everything is sold. So next ring, we have the market gardening and the raising of. Actually, it's going to be poultry and dairy farming. So those are the two main things that happen here. You got a bunch of pumpkins growing. You got some potatoes. You got some beets. All this stuff would grow here. Remember. Next, you got your cows that are going to be raised here for milk. And I'm just going to demonstrate real fast. We got a bucket. Now let's grab some milk. And boom, you get some milk. You can drink that. And next over here, we got some chickens being raised. And these chickens obviously are here because they lay eggs and those eggs are sold in the market. So you can see why the chickens are here. We got some bunch of carrots and all that, which also grows here. You got some watermelons and some berries. So that's the second ring. Now let's move on to the third one, the forestry, and that is you can see all these trees here and all that. And oh, one thing I gotta remember to tell you is that you can see like this cart over here, and it has like a bunch of hay bales on it. So it's basically showing that how wheat can be transported, other grains can be transported via carts like these to the town. So that's what this is showing. And I don't want to ride the donkey. All right, so let's go back to forestry. You see this whole ring, all this forestry going on, and these trees are kind of expensive to bring to town. But be like if they would grow like farther away, it would be pretty expensive to like carry them all the way from over there to here. But because they grow here, you can just cut them down and bring them in, and that's why they're the third ring. So there's actually lots and lots of applications of wood in that in especially in Juan Thunen's time, like even today, but especially in Juan Thunen's time because wood was pretty key to like running a village. First, like you needed it for construction, obviously. Wood was also necessary for cooking food, boiling water, which we kind of take for granted now because it's all electric. But at that time, and you got wood is also key because it's used to also again cook food and to heat up houses. So that's why wood was so key to basically running a village at that time. Why can't I leave? All right, so that is forestry, and finally we got the grains and the field crops. And these, remember, they require large amounts of land, uh, but they're not that perishable really, so you can easily carry them on those carts that I showed you to town. And you can basically see a bunch of farmers probably having their houses here, a bunch of hay bales, a bunch of scarecrows, all that. So that's our going to be our fourth ring, and finally we got the kind of like the outside, which is going to be livestock, ranching, and other forms of basically livestock related things. So first you see like cattle ranching, all these cattle being grazed, but then you also see other forms like pastoral nomadism. Kind of you see some pastoral nomads over here, uh, kind of grazing their sheep and all that. So that is gonna be the last string. And so I hope you liked. I hope you enjoyed this little Thünen model I made in Minecraft. And yep, thank you for listening.